Joyous celebration right here on Metro Noyana. Joyous celebration 14, by the way. I know you want it. I know you love it. Sure. Let's talk money. Look at the smile on your face already.
Money makes me happy?
Money makes you happy. Chomya. And they say money shouldn't make you happy, né? But it gives you options.
It gives you options. It doesn't bring you happiness. No.
It gives you options, though.
Gives you, a bit of peace.
When you're happy, you go, listen, I need to spoil myself because I'm not in a good mood, and you go buy this. Oh, you smile, retail therapy.
That's only temporary, though. It doesn't heal the soul.
And then when it's hurting again, oh, retail therapy.
Bring a temporary solution.
It's called habits. Bad
habits.
Who do we have in the studio?
In the studio, we have an author, Busi Selesho. She's the author of Money and Black People. Why black people don't have money and how to heal your money story.
You are controversial as calling out black people like that. So talk to us about the book.
Oh, hi. Thank you, guys. Thank you so much for inviting me.
Thank you for joining us. As heavy as it is in
Yeah.
studio, but thank you for staying and telling your money story.
Yeah, no, I was listening and I also got the healing. You guys did a lot of healing for us. So, well, the book has gotten me into a whole lot of trouble. You can imagine my topic.
Yes.
But it had to be done from my side because I felt that I needed to share what has worked for me. When it comes to money and black people being the issue here, because I'm a black person and I grew up with the not so disadvantaged situation in my life, and it was never pretty from day one. So at age 6 I lost my mom, and what I heard was that she lost, the other kids were a little bit grown up and they were okay, but the younger one, she needs money to survive. So all I had was money is going to save your life. So you can imagine then, I did not know what money was at that time, but I just knew that money was the only thing. So from that day on, I had to look for money every day. So for me, it wasn't actually something that I might need. It was a do or die situation. So I went to start learning about money, start observing life around me with money. And there was always Boba Busbego who had taxis, who had a Maspaza shop, who had buses, those businesses. And there was also teachers and nurses and doctors and people who are educated. And both these groups of people were the first group of people. I looked at them and I saw businesses and I thought, this is great. But then there was this story also that Babu Sbego has a snake that is making the business work.
Wow.
So the way he's got so much money, he the snake also has to eat, and the snake does not eat anything other than human beings, So I thought, oh my goodness, if I wanted to be that, I'll have to be what I have to be. So I thought, no, I'll take the education route because that is also another option that's available. So I took that option. But also I looked at that, and a whole lot of the people that were in that route were also people that were not happy. They were going to jobs they didn't like. They were saying that, the doctors will be at surgery at 9 o'clock at night. They wouldn't be at home with their families and this and this and that. But they were affording the house, the car. They were okay. So I then had to choose. At that stage, I chose education and having a job that's stable. And luckily, I went through to a tertiary, which when it was my day to go to tertiary, there was no money. And luckily, my sister that had not worked for 4 years at that time just got the job in December and was able to pay my registration in January. And I went to school, and for the next 4 years, I studied and I passed and I got my degree. And the first job I got was a great job, totally great paying job. But 6 months later, debit orders came out every other day. And then I was having a job, I was having money, but that money I did not see anymore. But also I just also find out that the IT was not me. So IT people sit in front of computers and they talk to computers. If they say hello to you, you are so lucky because they are so interested in their computers. And there I was wanting to talk to people, wanting to that was not me. And I found out that, if I don't have money and I don't like my job, so what am I doing there? And my family said when the day I told them that I'm leaving my job to go and do business because I don't like this. They were like, no, but we thought you were now okay. How can you leave a job that pays so well to go and do whatever? You don't know what you're going to do. And me taking that decision at the time, it wasn't a great decision from my family, from my friends, from everyone who knew me. They just thought I wanted to be lazy, and I just wanted to do funny stuff, like, why would you do such a thing? Why would you, you have all these responsibilities in life and you want to leave your job. And I did that. And I started the first business. First business was property. I had to learn about property. And I learned how property works. I learned how to buy houses.
You learned how? The property side. Did you go into Google how to...
So I attended
property?
a few courses.
Okay.
I registered for a few courses, and I got to understand why would you buy a property on auction? How would you sell it to make the most money in the shortest time? And I did that. I will easily make 100K in like 2 days of buying a property and out of my hands and so quickly. And I made money. But that business, when the 2008 recession happened, it failed, and it went down so fast. I did not see it coming. But one thing that that whole part of starting businesses is that I actually thought that I needed money to make money. So when I started that business, I went and borrowed a whole lot of money to start it. Well, it worked, but when it failed, that debt was now attached to my name. So the next thing was, do you go back to work now that you don't have a business anymore, or do you start another business? Another thing also, I wasn't really passionate about properties. I was just making the money. I was there for the money. So every time I sell a property, I didn't care who was going to stay there. If it fell,
as long as you got your money.
As long as I have my money, I'm happy. That's all I was there for. Yeah. And now I then thought, IT, definitely not going to go back there. So let me continue, start another business. I started another business in IT now, an internet cafe. I had about almost 80 computers there, and I was making money, but I also borrowed money to start that business. And it went very well. I was really, really making profit. But one day I walked in, I found there's no computer, not even one, not printer. Everything was stolen, totally clean. And did I know that there's business insurance? Definitely no. So I then, at that moment, lost that business again. And the debt for that business also was attached to my name. So I continued doing that, several other businesses, until fate caught up with me, where I got bankrupt. When I got bankrupt, it meant that everything was taken away from me. So the car, the houses, the furniture.
So you had to learn about money when you were bankrupt.
Yes.
What did you learn about money when you were bankrupt?
So at that stage, one thing that I knew for sure was that the fear that I had, so every time I started a business, I had this fear that I might fail, I might not do it, it might not work, I might lose it all. And at that moment, I'd lost it, I'd lost everything. I remember it was 11 o'clock when they took the last Mercedes. They took it and they just...
Sorry, wait, stop. Did you just say the last Mercedes?
Yes.
Just by the way.
So I was left with nothing, totally nothing. But at that moment, I was no longer scared because I'd lost it all. So that fear that was always there and saying it might happen then has actually happened. So at that moment, I thought to myself, wow, the worst thing has happened that I thought will happen. So what else now? So from that day onwards, I said to myself, you know what? I'm going to start another business. And this time it's no longer going to be for money, for anything. It's just for me to just prove to myself that this thing, actually, I know what I'm doing. But the thing is this, I didn't care if I failed again or slept under a bridge. So this time I was like, I'm going into this. If it gets me under a bridge, it's okay. So that was about 15 years ago.
Also, I've heard people who made lots of money speak like that because it's about passion.
Yeah.
Find something that you're passionate about.
Yeah.
The fact that I'm willing to sacrifice everything to prove one point.
Yeah.
Listen, if you just joined us, we're having a chat with the Busi. Listen, you must ask who Busi is. She's an internationally accredited money coach, money conscious teacher and speaker. And what I love the most is that she likes to empower individuals when it comes to your relationship with money. Because we all know, Paul's the one that always says, listen, it's a payday today, guys. I didn't realize it's payday. While we all get excited.
Wow.
Money management, Paul. Who taught you?
That's all about stashes.
I know.
I read a book. I think that's why books are so important. I'm glad you imparting the knowledge that you gained throughout the years about money. I read a book called Rich Dad, Poor Dad.
Oh,
that was
everyone
passed
talks
on
about that,
from my mom.
Yes.
My mom was in business.
Okay.
She was like, you read this book. This is what you're going to need
Sure.
Yeah.
for financial freedom.
Sure.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
Okay,
Wow.
so why must people read this book before we say goodbye?
So this book has got two parts. So the first part is where I tell my story, my money story. So it's all about healing your money story. So we all have a money story. All of us at age of 3, we were introduced to money. So you could have been introduced to money in a way where your father was buying you ice cream and you were really excited and you were like, wow, money can give us ice cream. Or it was maybe your father beating up your mother because she overspent.
Not beating. No, not beating. Not beating.
Maybe shouting.
Yes, okay, but not beating.
Maybe, and then there she's crying and then she's like, I'm sorry, I didn't think that, So you see money as a problem in this house that is causing,
Yes.
grief and sadness. So whichever way that we were introduced to money, that story we carry through all our lives. So sometimes you might not even remember the first time you were introduced to money because of how tense it was maybe. But we need to always understand that whatever that we do with money, it is what we were taught. So our environment, where the country we live in, the education we were introduced to is all impacting how we use money, how we deal with money. So this book talks about the fact that we had apartheid that affected our money story because we really believe that people came to this country to take money from us.
No, we do believe that, don't you?
Yes,
And the
exactly.
land. And the land.
And the land.
Yes,
And we
yes.
don't have the land currently. And we're really not happy with that. So that is also a very big issue. And we need to understand that better so that it does not stand in our way. Because when we don't understand it, it continually acts negative towards us getting money. So those are the issues that I talk about in the first part of the book.
Do you know I'm worried?
What are you worried about?
Because we've got different cultures when it comes to money.
Yeah.
I know I've got a friend I won't mention what his father does, but they're wealthy. There's the rich and then there's wealthy.
Yes.
So that oil money.
Football money.
Oh.
There we go. He says to me, Thomas, you must always pay your dues, eh?
Yeah.
You must have at least one Jew in your
Yeah,
life. He will
yeah.
show you things, eh?
Yes.
So it's like a family thing.
Yes.
Muslims, money.
Yes,
Meanwhile,
yes.
they don't focus on money. Like it's
Definitely.
about Allah, the relationship you have with Allah first, and
Yes.
then the money will come.
Yes.
Tina, ingena
Yes.
imali,
So,
iphuma
yes.
ngoku,
Tina, we
popping
were
bottles,
taught.
long
Yes.
weekend, people are broke.
Yes. And we were actually taught to never talk about it, to never discuss it, to just shy away from it. I mean, most fathers, when they retired, kids didn't know if there was money or there wasn't because they don't know how much he earns, what happens with money. So the first part is about all of that and what might be going wrong in your life, what might have. So and there's so many limiting beliefs. Like I said, my biggest limiting belief that actually got me into all sorts of money troubles was that thinking that starting a business you needed money. And when I totally saw that it never worked and I started a business without a cent, that business became a multi-million rand business and it's been running now for about 14 years. So I proved that you don't need money to make money, but that was a limiting belief that I had to learn in a hard way. So now I'm letting someone who wants to go through that route to know that you don't have to go and fail first before you find out that you actually don't need money to start a business or make money in any other way. And then there's people with jobs that go to jobs they don't like, but they don't understand how important a job is. Because when you go to a job, you are actually more important as the person working there than the person who owns the business.
Listen, Busi, come on. There's a strike that is on right now.
We are striking because we do not understand our value. And we are trying to ask someone to give us value by saying, I'm going to pay you an extra this much because that's what you're worth. No, that is not how much you're worth. And you don't need that job or that money to get the things you want in life. Because the universe created us to be enough and abundant enough for all that we want. So you wouldn't be striking for someone to give you value if you knew your value. And you wouldn't be wanting their money if you understood that money does not serve you. You serve this other way.
She was. Listen,
So
we've run out of time.
Yes.
We could go on and on about money with us, it's an issue. The book, what's it called again?
It's called Money and Black People. Why Black people don't have money and how to heal your money story. I love that you have solutions in this.
Yeah, so there's also a 30-day money mindset program, the second part of it. So that's where a person can sit with themselves in their garage, in their bedroom, in their bathroom, and fix their own mindset.
Where do you get the book?
So the book is on my site, busiselesho.com, and it's also
What's that site again?
busiselesho.com.
Okay.
www.busiselesho.com. I'm on social media, Twitter, Facebook, Busi Selesho, and you can also get it on Kindle and Amazon.
I hope they sell, because we need to learn about money.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming through.
Thank you, guys.
Have I told you how much I love your smile?
Oh, thank you.
I know why.
You know,
It's that gap between
Oh,
the two.
well.
Because he's that one as well.
they say we make money.
No, we have this.
It's the money gap. It's
It's
the,
the
money
money
gap.
Thank you, guys.
Path of the